Hello again, everybody. In this video, we are going to continue our discussion of while loops and modify things just a little bit. So when you're trying to do something repeatedly, part of the problem is analyzing what changes at each step through a series of repetitions. For example, suppose I wanted you to print a bunch of numbers. Let me put them here on line 8. And these are the numbers I wanted to print: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, to, let's say, 300. All right. Now, we have to, at each step in the repetition, decide what we want to do. Well, at each step in the repetition, it's clear we want to print out a number. And after that, before we print out the next number, we will want to add 10 to it. So we can modify our loop, the one we had here before, as follows. We'll start at 10. We'll go up to 300, and we will increment by 10. The end result of this is this would print out all the numbers from 10 to 300. Oops, let's try that again. It will print out all the numbers from 10 to 300. What if we wanted to count down? Let's say that you're working for NASA, so I'm going to comment these out for a moment. Let's suppose that you're working for NASA, and NASA has said, hey, we hear you're a great Python programmer. Think you can write a program to count from 10 down to 1? So let's look at what we have to do. We have to print out a 10, 9, 8, 7. You get the idea, down to 1. And then, of course, we have to say blast off. Well, we have to decide before the while loop where we should start. So let's start at 10. And we want to continue printing out while what is true? Well, we print out when it's 10, when it's 9, when it's 8, when it's 7, all the way down to 1. So while count is greater than or equal to 1, we will print out the number, again, on one line. And then we will take count. We don't want to add to it. Notice that every time after we printed out the 10, the next thing we need to do before we again print it out is decrement, decrease count. So we'll say minus equals 1. And of course, at the end of the loop, we're going to print blat off. I like blat off. That sounds like something you would use to remove bugs from your windscreen. So let's say, no, let's not. Let's say blast off. So here's what happens. Count is initialized to 10. We come down to the while loop and we check. Is count greater than or equal to 1? 10 is greater than or equal to 1. So we print out the 10 and a space. We decrement count so it's 9. That is the end of the indentation, so we go back to the top of the while loop, and count became 9. Is 9 greater than or equal to 1? Yes, it is. So we print 9, and on the same line, decrement it so it's 8. Is 8 greater than or equal to 1? Yes, it is. So we print it. You're getting bored by this time, but that's fine, because the computer, remember, does not get bored. We continue to loop through here. At the end, this will continue all the way down to 1. It'll print out the number 1. It will decrement count so it's 0. 0 is not greater than or equal to 1, so the loop terminates at this point. At this point, on line 24, if we looked at count, it would have the value 0 because we had decremented it 1 beyond 1, 1 less than 1. And so if we printed out count, that's what we would see. We're not going to print out count, but we are going to print out blast off. Oh, and I missed the exclamation point. How sloppy of me. So here we go. NASA awaits. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. There we have it. What if I wanted to count from 100 down to 0, or 100 down to 1, and I wanted to count down by tens? I could do it like that. So you can tailor this any way that you want. Not sure if NASA really wants to count down by 10. That's another question entirely. Let's take a look at one more example, and then we'll call it quits. Let us see how long it's going to take until we roll a 6. So I'm going to comment this part out. And there we go. I'm going to, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to import random, and I'm going to declare a variable called roll. And we will say random.randint. Of course, we were trying to roll. So we're going to roll a dice, a standard dice. and we're going to see how long it takes for us to get a 6. And so we want to continue, and let's count. We're going to call this the number of rolls. So we just rolled it once. So far, the number of rolls we've required is 1. And while the roll is not equal to 6, so as long as, or while, we don't have a 6, we will roll again. And we will increment the number of rolls. So while the roll is not equal to 6, we roll again. And since we rolled again, we have to indicate the fact. Remember, we are counting the number of rolls. So to count means that you continually increment things. And here, we can say something like, it took num rolls to get a 6. Wasn't that interesting? Don't answer that question. It was rhetorical. Let's go ahead and run this. And it took 7 rolls to get a 6. Let's run it again. Let's see if we get the same number. Do you think we will? Let's find out. It took 8 rolls. It took 12 rolls. That's funny. How come it took 12 rolls? It took 4 rolls. That was just a fluke. It looked like the number of rolls was increasing, but we had taken care to reset it to 1, so it should have started at 1. It took 16 rolls. Ooh, it took 9. It took 1 roll. There we go. We got a 6 the first time we rolled our dice. All right, that is the end of this video. I hope you're finding these educational, and if so, please let me know.